wrong. That makes sense. Let's face it, when we were new in recovery, we had been at odds with the rest of the world for some time. As the basic text says, our living skills were reduced to the animal level. We didn't know how to communicate with others well. It's hard enough to figure out when we're wrong. Admitting our wrongs can be even more challenging. Just like in the ninth step, we have to be careful that we aren't doing more damage by making the admission. Unlike the process contained in steps 4 through 9, when we go through events from the past, step 10 is designed to keep us current. We don't want to let unresolved wrongs pile up. We need to try our very best to stay abreast of what we're doing. Most of our work will be done by making constant adjustments to our outlook. If we find ourselves becoming negative and complaining all the time, we might need to spend some time thinking about the things for which we are grateful. We need to pay attention to the way we react when we've done something wrong. Is it our first impulse to make an excuse? Are we claiming to be victims of someone's negative influence or of our disease? All excuses aside, we are responsible for what we do. It may very well be that our character defects got the better of us, but that doesn't excuse our behavior. We need to accept responsibility and continue to be willing to have our shortcomings removed. Step 10 points out the need to continue taking personal inventory, and it seems to assert that we do this solely to find out when we're wrong. But how can we identify the times we're wrong unless we also have times we're right as a basis of comparison? We have to realize that it will probably take some time and some trial and error before we are completely comfortable in our new lives in recovery. Next subtitle is How Often Should We Take a Personal Inventory? It's very helpful to sit down at the end of each day and work this step. We need the consistency of doing something every day for it to become a habit and to internalize the spiritual principles of the activity. As we stay clean and our days of continuous abstinence turn into weeks and months and years, we'll find that taking a personal inventory has become second nature. We'll find that keeping track of our spiritual fitness comes naturally, without our having to think too much about it. We'll notice right away when we're headed in a direction we don't want to go or about to engage in a behavior that's sure to cause harm. Spiritual principles. In the 10th step, we will focus on self-discipline, honesty, and integrity. Those are the spiritual principles for this one. Self-discipline is essential to our recovery. When we were self-seeking and self-absorbed. We always took the easy way out. Giving in our impulses, ignoring any opportunity for personal growth. If there was anything in our lives that required a regular commitment, chances are that we only followed through if it wasn't too hard, if it didn't get in the way of our self-indulgence, or if it happened to feel like it, or if we happen to feel like it doing it. The self-discipline of recovery calls on us to do certain things regardless of how we feel. We need to go to meetings regularly, even if we're tired, busy at work, having fun, or filled with despair. We need to regularly, especially when we're feeling hostile towards the demands that recovery makes on us. We go to meetings, call our sponsor, and work with others because we have decided we want recovery in AA, and those things are the actions that will help assure our continued recovery. Okay, I'm going to read that one more time. That was so important, I feel. The self-discipline of recovery calls on us to do certain things regardless of how we feel. We need to go to meetings regularly, even if we're tired, busy at work, having fun, or filled with despair. We need to go regularly, especially when we're feeling hostile towards the demands that recovery makes on us. We go to meetings, call our sponsor, and work with others because we have decided we want recovery in NA, and those things are the actions that will help assure our continued recovery. The principle of honesty originates in step 1. And is brought to fruition in step 10. We are usually nothing less than amazed at the range and depth of our honesty by this point in our recovery. Where before we may have had honest hindsight, able to see our true motives long after a situation was over, we are now able to be honest with ourselves about ourselves while the situation is still occurring. The principle of integrity can be quite complex, but it is integrity. More than anything else, that commands our ability to practice other principles. In fact, integrity is knowing which principles we need to practice in a given situation and in what measure, for instance.